Yes.
Good morning, Mr. President, members of Council. We have one item of all business today, which is change of zone number 2001, filed on behalf of Belmead Farm LLC. This is an ordinance to amend the comprehensive zoning map of Sussex County from an AR1 agricultural residential district to a C4 planned commercial district for certain parcels of land totaling 39 acres lying at on the west side, the 20033 John J. Williams Highway. Lewis County Council may remember this from the public hearing that was held before County Council at its meeting of September 16th of this year, and at the conclusion of that meeting, County Council held the record open for additional comment from state agencies and public comments, with the record closing on October 28th of this year, at which point it was deferred for further consideration.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Moore.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. An ordinance to amend the comprehensive zoning map of Sussex County from an AR1 agricultural residential district to a C4 planned commercial district for certain parcels of land lying and being in Sussex County containing 39.22 acres more or less for the reasons given by planning zoning numbered 1 through 16 and conditions 17A through S. And Mr. President, I do understand that there may be some proposed amendments for this.
That's right. Ms. Gruenebaum?
Yes, I do have some amendments to propose. Several, if I may.
Sure.
Begin.
You have the floor.
Thank you. The first one is I move that the first sentence of condition B be amended by striking the words as offered by the amendment 10 and substituting in its place 15, such that the first sentence of condition B reads as follows: 15% of the units shall be designated as restricted units for purposes of providing affordable rental housing options subject to the following terms and conditions.
Okay. We need to vote.
They just need a second. She made a motion.
I made a motion.
You need a second for that.
That's right. We have a motion and a second on these amendments. Are there any questions? Hearing none, we'll take the vote on the amendments only. Ms. Gruenebaum?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yes.
Mr. Rieley?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carried.
The second motion I have is I move that condition B1 be amended as follows: delete 10 and substitute with 15. Then later in the same sentence, after equal to or less than, add 80% of, and then striking an appropriate percentage of immediately after. The last sentence will then be stricken. The condition will read: rented restricted units for a period of 30 years following the date the last building with residential units in it receives a certificate of occupancy. 15% of the total number of units offered for lease, the restricted units, shall be rented to tenants with a gross gross household income equal to or less than 80% of the area median income for Sussex County qualifying tenants, as established by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and updated annually for a rental rate adjusted for household and unit size as per HUD guidelines.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Rieley. Any questions on this amendment? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Ms. Gruenebaum?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yes.
Mr. Rieley?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carried.
I have a third motion. I move that condition B7 be amended as follows: delete 90 and substitute with 85. Then later in the sentence, delete 10 and substitute with 15. The condition will then read: in the event that more than 85% of the units are rented at market rate because fewer than 15% of the units are leased to qualified tenants, the applicant or owner of the project shall be required to pay to Sussex County the monthly market rate collected from any excess market rate units. Any such funds collected by Sussex County shall be used and administered for housing purposes by the Sussex County Office of Community Development and Housing.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Second, Mr. Rieley. Any questions on the motion or on the amendment? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Ms. Gruenebaum?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yes.
Mr. Rieley?
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carried.
Motion 4. I move that condition N be amended as follows by adding a first sentence that reads: as designed by the applicant, at least 50% of the existing forest shall be preserved, and then by adding two sentences at the end of that read: In addition, as recommended by the Delaware State Forester by the letter dated October 13th, 2025, the preserved forest areas shall undergo a silviculture prescription by a certified arborist, certified nursery professional, or licensed forester, or forester designated by the Society of American Foresters as a certified forester to assist with understory establishment, the removal of poor quality trees, increased water uptake, and to increase habitat and overall forest health. A report shall be provided to the Planning and Zoning Commission following the silviculture prescription. Native plantings, as listed in the Flora of Delaware online database maintained by DENREC, shall be used in all buffers and pollinator-friendly landscape practices employed where possible. The condition will be amended as follows. As designed by the applicant, at least 50% of these existing forests shall be preserved. The final site plan shall include a landscape plan for the development showing the proposed tree and shrub landscape design, including the buffer areas and woodlands that must be preserved. In addition, as recommended by the Delaware State Forester by letter dated October 13th, 2025, the preserved forest areas shall undergo a silviculture prescription by a certified arborist, certified nursery professional, or licensed forester, or forester designated by the Society of American Foresters as a certified forester to assist with understudy establishment and the removal of poor quality trees, increased water intake, and to increase habitat and overall forest health. A report shall be provided to the Planning and Zoning Commission following the silviculture prescription. Native plantings, as listed in the Flora of Delaware online database maintained by DENREC, shall be used in all buffers and pollinator-friendly landscape practices employed where possible.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lloyd. Are there any questions? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Ms. Gruenebaum.
Yes.
Mr. McCarron.
Yes.
Mr. Lloyd.
Yes.
Mr. Rieley.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion carried.
Motion 5. I move that condition R be amended by inserting the following addition so that condition R, as amended, reads as follows. There will be off-site roadway improvements and a signalized entrance constructed to provide safe vehicular and pedestrian access to the development. Given the location and size of the development, the developer shall coordinate with DelDOT and provide a phasing schedule that shall establish the time frame and phasing of the construction of the commercial building, mixed-use buildings, residential buildings, and the construction of the off-site entrance and roadway improvements that DelDOT shall require as a result of the development. During this coordination with DelDOT, the developer shall inquire about the possibility of additional signalized intersections in the area. Additionally, the developer shall coordinate the phasing schedule with DelDOT such that the signalized entrance to the development shall be constructed and open to use prior to the issuance of the first certificate of occupancy for either the first mixed-use building or apartment buildings. The phasing schedule and the results of the inquiry about additional traffic signals shall be coordinated between the applicant and DelDOT, and it shall be presented by the applicant with DelDOT's concurrence to the Planning and Zoning Commission for consideration as part of the final site plan.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Lloyd. Are there any questions?
I am trying to really get my head around this one. This is developers should coordinate the phasing schedule with DelDOT such that the signalized entrance shall be constructed and open prior to issuance of this first certificate of occupancy. I don't have a problem with that, but that is the only hallmark that we're going to require that be completed prior. Otherwise, we're going to basically delegate management of the phasing to DelDOT to handle in conjunction with the applicant.
That's the way it reads right now, if you'd like to.
Is that the limit of our ability to influence the phasing?
I have commentary about this, but I'll save it for my vote.
Hold on just one second. Mr.
Just to comment on the question or the comment from Mr. Rieley, the way the motions from the Planning and Zoning Commission read also require a planning phasing schedule to be worked out by the developer and DelDOT to then be approved by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay, all right.
Once it comes back to the Planning and Zoning.
That clarifies it.
So this would be in addition to that phasing requirement.
Okay. Yeah, that gives me a higher degree of comfort.
Okay, Mr. Lloyd?
Oh,
had
I'll wait. That's fine.
Okay.
That cleared it up.
Are there any other questions?
No.
Okay, hearing none, we'll take the vote. Ms. Gruenebaum?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
McCarron?
Yes.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yes.
Mr. Rieley?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carried.
Motion 6. Due to the proximity of this property to the environmentally sensitive wetlands of Dormant Branch, special designation considerations taking into account pre-development topography and anticipated bulk grading slopes are warranted. Therefore, in an effort to minimize adverse effects by the development process on the forested portion of the site, I move that we amend condition G after the last sentence and add the following. An enhanced sediment capture plan shall be prepared by developers, engineers, and submitted for review and approval by the Sussex Conservation District and the Sussex County Engineering Department. The plan shall apply superior sediment capture by taking advantage of the existing site topography by impounding the area closest to Dormant Branch using minimally invasive methods, thereby establishing an expanded floodplain. The plan shall take advantage of the existing topography by placing the Phase 1 residential and amenity structures on the most level ground while designing a minimally invasive floodplain impoundment, allowing the expanded floodplain to remain in a wooded site. 3, the minimally invasive impoundment structure must incorporate a conveyance feature in accordance with the state of Delaware's sediment and stormwater regulations. It must furthermore be fully stabilized prior to any subsequent land disturbance, and the remainder of the site must be temporarily and/or permanently graded to direct the stormwater runoff during construction, as well as post-development to the operational impoundment area.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I will second that.
Second, Mr. Rieley. Are there any questions?
No, I'll just comment, I did have conversations with our engineer, and feel like this is the best thing, this is the right way to go. So, at least in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There are no questions. We'll take the vote. Ms. Gruenebaum?
Yes.
Mr. McCarron?
Yes.
Mr. Lloyd?
Yes.
Mr. Rieley?
Yes.
I vote yes, motion carried.
All done?
I'm finished
Is
with that
all?
part
Are that all the amendments?
for now. I mean, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
At this time, Mr. President, I'd read the short title again as amended.
Please do.
Thank you. An ordinance to amend the comprehensive zoning map of Sussex County from an AR1 agricultural residential district to a C4 planned commercial district for certain parcels of land lying and being in Sussex County containing 39.22 acres more or less for reasons given by planning and zoning numbered 1 through 16 with conditions 17A through S as amended by this council.
Okay. Pleasure of council.
We voting?
No, we would have to move for adoption.
Oh.
Right.
Move for adopt.
As amended.
As amended. Move for adoption
Okay.
as amended. Sorry.
Motion, Ms. Gruenebaum.
Second.
Second, Mr. McCarron. Any questions? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Ms. Gruenebaum.
Thank you. Despite the amendments that I just proposed, and I appreciate their support from my colleagues, I still have serious, which I believe will improve this development meaningfully should it get approved. I still have concerns, and they center around 3 critical issues: infrastructure, safety, and precedent. As the first project to be approved under the C4 zoning district, this application is precedent-setting. Council must find that adequate infrastructure exists to ensure that the development would not imperil the safety, health, and well-being of the county residents. Reasons given for approval or disapproval of this application will be a foundation for future C4 requests. Sussex County Code 115-83.25 defines the minimum district requirements for C4 commercial district. The second requirement in the code reads, the land shall be served by adequate existing or planned infrastructure. Much of the testimony received by expert witnesses, state agencies, and residents convincingly point to the failure of Belmead to meet this code requirement as it pertains to roads. Namely, there's a flawed TIS. The TIS submitted did not include 3 large developments, the approved North Star or the proposed Atlantic Fields and Cool Spring Crossing. Nonetheless, DelDOT, in its response to council questions, stated that the developers of Atlantic Fields will be responsible for a critical intersection improvement, that of Mulberry Road and Route 24, to mitigate the increased traffic from Belmead as well as Atlantic Fields. It is simply unacceptable to exclude a development for purposes of calculating traffic impact, but to include the development for purposes of remediating that impact. The TIS failed to consider the intersection of Route 24 and Tanglewood Drive, or the intersection of 24 and the center at Long Neck. The Capital Transportation Program, fiscal year 26 to 30, per the DelDOT response to council questions, quote, does not currently include an estimated start of construction or completion date for improvements planned for Route 24 between Love Creek Bridge and Indian Mission Road. Without those dates, the road will remain inadequate for an unknown length of time. The Love Creek Bridge is a potential choke point for all traffic on Route 24. Currently, the development phase for widening the bridge is assumed to be 2032. There are no dates for the engineering or construction phases. According to the Highway Capacity Manual, the road capacity at a level D for a 2-lane road at 45 miles an hour is between 11,900 and 15,900. Traffic projection for Route 24 after completion of Belmead is 18,000 trips, which exceed the daily capacity per the Highway Capacity Manual. DelDOT's own coastal corridor study shows Route 24 at capacity during off-season times. This data does not support a conclusion that the roads are or will be adequate to handle the increased traffic from this development. The school infrastructure is similarly insufficient with regard to capacity and safety. This development is adjacent or across the street from 2 schools, Beacon Middle and Love Creek Elementary. The Cape Henlopen School District opposes any growth at this time and notes those schools are at or above capacity. The school district also raises concerns about student safety. Parents picking up and dropping off children already face dangerous backups. When you add, as this development would, a commercial area, you add an incentive for school children to walk to the stores, crossing traffic, heavy traffic, or walking alongside heavy traffic. The environmental impact raises other infrastructure concerns. This site ultimately drains to the Rehoboth Bay watershed. A development in this location that replaces permeable natural surfaces with impermeable built surfaces increases polluting runoff into Dorman's Branch, which feeds to Love Creek, and then to Rehoboth Bay. Goal 4.3 of the comprehensive plan states, identify and designate future development areas in a manner that protects the county's natural and cultural resources from adverse effects of development. Keeping our bays and waterways healthy is imperative to the health and economic well-being of Sussex County. At this time, in this place, this development dangerously burdens an already stressed road infrastructure, adds to existing threats to our waterways, imperils the safety of school children, and thus sets a poor precedent for future C4 applications. I vote no.
Okay. Mr. McCarron.
In considering this application, it's important to remember the numerous conversations we hear about workforce housing availability near the main source of employment in the county. One of the main goals of the recent working group we formed was to address the shortage of affordable and workforce housing, which resulted in a recommendation of permitting missing middle housing types such as apartments and townhomes, and this application does. Mixed uses also support reducing traffic by offering the ability to shop and get services without leaving the neighborhood property. This application does not represent opportunities for people to retire here and reside on this property, which could be described as overburdening of our resources. This application serves to provide housing for current residents of Sussex County and allows more opportunities to live where they work. We cannot shut out opportunities for current Sussex Countyans to have housing near their employers. The east side of the county should not be shut down to working class residents. Earlier in the meeting, we applauded 2 high school sports teams for their efforts on the field. We should not dismiss their ability to afford to live within an hour of a job on the east side of the county. Regarding infrastructure, this is a planned growth area identified by the county and the state over a decade ago. This application will be a large contributor to the Henlopen TID, an area we all agree needs additional funding and improvements. While many communities were built adjacent to this application and have contributed 0 to road improvements in the TID, This application will help fund the many requests and improvements we hear about. Today I'm voting to provide housing opportunities for individuals that grew up here and work here, and to provide an opportunity for a shorter commute to work. Based upon the testimony heard during the applicant's presentation and the recommendations of planning and zoning, I vote yes.
Mr. Lloyd.
Okay, well, I had an abridged version of comments, but just based on some stuff I heard just now, I'm going to go with a long-form version, so settle in. I just want to say, for people in the audience, people in the public, and my colleagues, I've absolutely heard every comment, be it positive or negative, towards this project. I've read every email in support or opposition to Belmead. This is obviously a difficult position where we have to balance the testimony, the written record, the law in the form of land use code, and even the Constitution. And I preside over this with a lot of consideration and understanding of everybody's opinions. I ran for council on one core idea, which was to stop growth out of the farmland. Keyword being out of the farmland. And make sure it goes where infrastructure either already exists or is planned to be built. That's the standard I'm held to, and that's the standard I use to evaluate every project. This project sits exactly where growth should go, on a major collector with direct access to an arterial road. It has schools, hospitals, police, and paramedic services, which were all recently built and have capacity to serve the community. And we can talk about the numbers. This is not a leapfrog development out in a rural field. This is where planned, centric growth in an area mapped for commercial and mixed use is in our comprehensive plan. Most of the opposition's comments during the hearing boiled down to traffic. The roads can't handle it. I absolutely hear them. But from my perspective, this is just what the record actually shows. DelDOT and multiple state agencies have planned and budgeted major Route 24 improvements through the Henlopen and TID with a significant sum of $375 million, over 40 priority intersection upgrades, all surrounding this area, which are projected to be built out between 2027 and 2032. Along with roadfront improvements with multiple avenues of approach into the project site area. It doesn't just go through the Love Creek Bridge. DelDOT saw this coming, and if you notice, that's the same 5 to 7 year timeline that it would take for Belmead to be built. This site's tied to off-site improvements, additional turn lanes, crosswalks, multimodal transportation with bus options, along with an entrance that must be constructed before the first certificate of occupancy is issued, which isn't projected until at least 28 to 2029 timeframe, which again aligns with DelDOT's timeframe for the TID improvements. Now, if Route 24 improvements were not planned, funded, or coordinated, I would not be making this comment. But they are, and Belmead's build-out timeframe aligns with those improvements. Approving this project in the right place on the right corridor with enforceable conditions is exactly the way that we manage growth responsibly. Now, as far as the farm goes, I don't like to see any farm be tilled over. I really don't. However, this landowner has committed to selling, and they exist within a growth zone. The public infrastructure, the public service infrastructure exists, and road improvements are planned, and the project delivers critically needed housing, to Steve's point, including units affordable to local workers, as well as jobs, both temporary and permanent. In the grand scheme of things, that does keep people closer to where they work, and for that reason, and I know this is a difficult concept, that actually reduces traffic off the main corridors feeding into the beach area, because they're centrically located. There are enough objectively true factors here that compel me to see this as smart planning. It aligns with a comprehensive plan. It's everything we've identified throughout our efforts this year with the work group, the state's directives, and it aligns with DelDOT's funding and timing. And that's why I'll be voting yes, based on the testimony, the material facts, and the recommendation by P&Z.
Okay. Mr. Rieley.
Well, clearly this has been one of our more difficult applications to consider. However, I believe my colleague, Ms. Gruenebaum, has summarized the situation pretty accurately. I don't necessarily agree with her on the environmental aspects. I have a lot of confidence in the Conservation District to be able to mitigate those considerations. But if anything, I actually believe she may understate the issue with traffic. The reason this project has been so difficult is because the applicant has done a wonderful job of, checking all the boxes and delivering a project that is pretty much what we have asked them to do, where we've asked them to do, But the one box that they are unable to check is the box that the state has to check, and that is the roadways. And I can't in good conscience support a project that is going to overburden even further roadways that are pushing the limits, if not overburdened currently. And, you know, on that basis, I agree with the comments of Ms. Gruenebaum, and I'm voting no.
Okay. Right. This is exactly what the Land Use Working Group met for several months, and several different meetings is exactly what they asked for. This is in TID, and we will receive the funding transportation improvements immediately. It's in state level 2. They have agreed to save a significant amount of the forests. And Route 24 just got improved right there. And I also agree with Mr. McCarron's points and Mr. Lloyd's points, and I vote yes. Motion carried.